major contributor, Kimberly Dvorak. Kimberly, we know that Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama is listening, and I believe he was part of this group with the sheriffs. But are other congressmen and women listening to these law enforcers?
Absolutely. Today, also attending the briefing with the congressman was Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, and she spoke out with great passion about what the president was doing with this amnesty. And she, basically was saying that Tennesseans are now going to have to compete for jobs with other people who came into this country illegally, whether they crossed the border or overstayed their visas. She said, in essence, that these people now are going to face lower wages as a result of this. And she was very passionate, saying that it, not only was it unfair, but it was also un-American. And for the people who are waiting in line to do this legally through the process, they're also getting the short end of the stick on this. And she was very passionate about it.
Okay, so the other element, of course, the sheriffs want is a secure southern border. And, I've read Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution multiple times, and I reread it just to be clear. And part of Article 1, Section 8 says that Congress, not the president, but Congress has the authority to call out the militia to execute the laws of the United States. Is anyone on Capitol Hill talking with these sheriffs about Congress calling out the militia and executing the laws that the president won't?
Well, I think that they're reaching out to, as today we saw with the sheriffs that came, out here across the country. They came to speak to members of Congress saying, look, this unsecure border that we have is no longer just a southern border problem. It's making it every state is now a border state. And some of the issues that they're faced with once these immigrants leave, or these illegal aliens, if you will, leave the border region, they go into other cities. And one of the sheriffs from Maryland who, claims, that he's the number 2 behind Sheriff Joe as the toughest sheriff, he actually said that, that their city, they're facing a tremendous heroin problem. And, along with that comes crime, and along with that comes jail. And they said that they received more than 200 of these unaccompanied minors that crossed the secure border this last summer. And that puts another cost on Maryland taxpayers. And he said simply there just isn't enough money to go around to cover all of these costs. They're imploring Congress to do something. Yet today we saw the Congress, a Republican Congress, pass a $1.1 trillion spending bill, and included in that is the money that would be needed for President Obama to go ahead and implement this amnesty program, including they were spending roughly just under $1 billion going to be dedicated to HHS to deal with these unaccompanied minors. And then shockingly, in my opinion, they're giving the State Department $260 million taxpayer dollars to deal with the Central American countries to help them with the issues that they've got going on in their own countries. We have people in this country that can't find jobs, and this is how the brand new Congress, I have no idea where they're going to go from here, but it looks like there was a lot of riders put into this $1.1 trillion, and talk here today was the lawmen in the Capitol today were very upset about that development, and it's almost unbelievable.
It's a travesty, and they should be upset, and we should be upset because the Republicans are speaking out of both sides of their mouth. They campaigned in November about securing the border and stopping executive amnesty, and now, just a few weeks later, they fund it. And I don't care if it's just for a couple of months. Yeah. They're funding it, and the problem is you're playing with fire. You're trying to deal with a rogue president who will take monies from one spot and put it into another, and that is he's going to figure out a way to fund his executive amnesty one way or another. And then we have the Republicans outright giving him the money, even if it's on a temporary basis.
Well, and let's remember, too, that once Congress, signs a spending bill, that means we have to spend the money. Their argument is like, okay, well, we'll deal with this later when we have control of the Senate. They just appropriate the money. There's no going back from unappropriating this money. It's going. And this is where I think, people who are viewing need to actually watch. This is the old bait and switch. And this time the Republicans are actually doing or pulling a Nancy Pelosi, and we have to pass the bill before we find out what's in it.
Okay,
and
Kimberly, I gotta ask you
slowly
something.
creep out. Not good.
We only have a couple of seconds left. Is there any hope, led by Jeff Sessions in the Senate, of Republicans stopping this nonsense in the Senate and maybe even dragging it out through the holidays?
There is talk that the Senate is going to take this up in a very serious manner, and that with the holidays coming up, it's very likely that they will, pass a very, very short term just to keep the doors open in government. Because I'm telling you, there's a split in the GOP party back here where a lot of them are saying, yeah, we just need to go along to get along.
Yeah.
And the others are saying this is absolutely not what the voters told us they wanted.
Well, I say shut the government down. Who cares? We can survive without it for a few weeks. Let's just do the people's work. Kimberly, thanks for your good work. Coming up